Manipur Shanang Lay Mayo Chính là cối nè pan sa ba Chính là cối nè pan ngã pa Chính bu rồi tâm bu rồi Tu sang xít nè khun đa ba Ngoại thâu thâm chết hay mai Cho nó phát dễ bị phung dồn Nó đã lại đến Bác khăn mà Càng lao men Nó bọn thơ vào Yêu bùi đi Manipur mà thả nung mà cha gum chết na lang gon bi be Manipur sana lay pak ni Sri Radha Govind
Manipur, guarded by the natural fortress of 7 ranges of hills and the fighting spirit of its inhabitants, remain an independent kingdom since the dawn of human civilization. The center of the kingdom was Kangla. Kangla is the site where the coronation of Nongda Lairen Pakhangba, the first recorded Manipuri Ningthauja king, took place. It was the residence of kings of Manipur and holds many sacred places of worship. The succession of the kings and their deeds are meticulously written down in the state chronicles of Manipur, known as Chaitharol Kumpaba. Manipuri kings of Ningthauja clan ruled the land from 33 AD till 1891 AD, when the land fell into British hands. It suffered destruction under the British and the Japanese bombings of World War II.
Manipur, a land of diverse ethnic groups and checkered history, is a kaleidoscope of varied lifestyles, beliefs and expressions. A land of rich cultural expressions, its different belief systems and cultures interweaved and evolved together. A section of the population follows Vaishnavism. The soul of Manipur Vaishnav is Nath Sankirtana. The Manipuri Nath Sankirtana, as conceived and created by Rajarshi Bhagyachandra, embodies the philosophy and belief of Vaishnavism as taught by Shri Shri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu through an art form. It is a Manipuri creation patterned on Vaishnavite philosophy. The content is given form on the lines of traditional aesthetic sensibilities of the land. Indigenous music and dances of Manipur entered imperceptibly into the evolution of Nritya Sankirtana. When Kirtana came into contact with the Manipuri genius, it underwent artistic transmutation through an original conceptualization of the philosophy behind it.
सकल रस विदग्धै प्रेम संभाष भरे तदते भोजन मुद्रा शिखयन तदुदिख्यो सो जयति गुरुदेवो गौर कृष्ण अवतारम
Generally, a Nritya Sankirtana performance takes about 3 to 4 hours at a stretch, consisting of the stages Raga, Gaurachandra, Mel, Tanchab, Menkub and Jai Bhai. Lord Chaitanya initiated the Sri Krishna Sankirtana, hymning of Lord Krishna's glory, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated in the wells of samsara and extinguishes the fire of conditional life of repeated birth and death. The Manipuri musician singing Kirtana is called Nritya, meaning the person who knows the 4 abhinayas and different types of natya. Nritya Sankirtana is a collective prayer, meditation and Mahayagya. It is a composite vision of music, movement and rhythmic gestures through which one is supposed to be in touch with Radha Krishna and the eternal Sakhis of Vrindavan. Structurally, the Natya Sankirtana follows the eightfold division of the day in the Leela of Lord Krishna called the Astakal. This Vaishnav tradition was constantly developed by Bhagyachandra's descendants and attained its supreme heights during the time of his grandson Maharaj Chandrakriti. The Natya Sankirtana sanctifies its stage in the life cycle of every Manipuri Vaishnav. The stages are Nahutpa, Lugunthangba, Luhongba, Shraddha, etc. Luhongba is the Manipuri wedding ceremony. The bride takes measured steps around the groom and showers him with flowers, which culminates in the exchange of garlands. Importance of rhythm in the life of Manipuri Vaishnav is reflected in the general belief that a bride should take the steps rhythmically as to augur a good marital life. There are also forms of Sankirtana that are associated with the seasons, festivals and leelas of the Srimad Bhagavatam. The Vaishnavas celebrate Goshtalila, Hari Uthan, Rath Yatra, etc. Goshtalila enacts Lord Krishna's slaying of demons which appeared on the pastures where he herded cows. All auspicious rituals and ceremonies like Luhongba, Nahutpa, etc. are performed only after Hari Uthan. Hari Uthan coincides with summer solstice and thus is an important event in the calendar. The Vaishnav celebrates the story of Lord Krishna and his friends stealing sugar canes from Madhubon. There are forms of Sankirtana which are performed by the ladies. They are Nupipala connected with Julon and Devi Puja, Khubak Ishe associated with Rath Yatra. Not only professionals but also lay persons participate in these forms of Sankirtana associated with these festivals. Community participation gives the vibrancy and energy conspicuous in the celebrations even today. Holi or Yaoksang, with duration of 6 days, is one of the most important festivals of the Manipuri Vaishnavas. Holi Pala, comprising of mainly non-professional singers, perform Sankirtana. It is the desire of every Vaishnav family to make possible a Raas performance in their Shumang or courtyard, with a boy of the family within 8 years of age playing the role of Krishna and a girl of that age playing the role of Radha. The Raas Dhuli collected from the Raas Mandal is kept preserved for sprinkling on the forehead of a dying bhakta as a means of deliverance. This attitude captures the significance of the Leela to the Manipuri Vaishnavas.
Rajarshi Bhagyachandra's devotion and bhakti-inspired genius gave the world the Manipuri Raas, an extension of Nat Sankirtan.
GoI Krishna
Played even now on Kartik Purnima, the theme and sequence of Maharas are based on the Ras Panchadhyay of Srimad Bhagavat. Bhagyachandra is credited with 3 of the 5 ras bequeathed to us, including the most majestic of them all, the Maharas. The other 2 ras leelas of Bhagyachandra are Kunj Ras and Basant Ras. support the singing, there are sutradharis. The rasdhari usually plays on the pung. The accompaniment consists of flute, the moibung, and other instruments. Manipur's contact with its eastern and western neighbors as allies or enemies began long before the regime of Rajarshi Bhagyachandra. King Kiamba, ancestor of Bhagyachandra, in his times initiated to an extent the worship of Vishnu Shaligram, which he received as a gift from his friend and ally, the Pong king of present-day Myanmar. King Charairongba, great-great-grandfather of Bhagyachandra, was a Krishna Bhakta. Bhagyachandra's grandfather, Garib Niwas, embraced Ramandi Dharma. He built the Ramji Prabhu Mandir and the Hanuman Thakur Mandir.
Bhagyachandra was born on Wednesday, the 27th of the Manipuri month of Inga, 1740 AD at Yaiskul, Jarmastan.
Bhagyachandra Maharaj haibasi landa thauna yamna phaba lanphong sinbasu yamna haiba matik magun yamna leiba Manipur gi asogo ningthongni. Maha asi Garib Niwas Maharaj gi masai bungo samjai khorai lakpa haibasi gi ani.
Bhagyachandra was a courageous warrior, a war strategist par excellence, a versatile person endowed with immense qualities. He was the grandson of great Manipuri king Garib Niwas and the second son of Shamsai Khurai Lakpa. He was the Yuvraj during his brother's reign. He and his elder brother Gorsham had the understanding that they would rule the land for 5 years in rotation. During the reign of his brother, the Awa under the Burmese king Olankpaya, the greatest Burmese king of all time, attacked Manipur. The first battle was fought in Kakji. The Manipuris retreated to Leisangkhom. From here, Bhagyachandra through his strategy successfully repelled the Burmese invasion. This was in 1755-56 AD. Bhagyachandra Maharaj ascended the throne twice. The first time he ascended the throne was in 1759 AD.
The sovereignty of the land, with a small population and surrounded by powerful kingdoms, was sustained by martial character of its people and their evolved martial arts and military strategies. Their martial arts were devastatingly effective at close range. They were masters of guerrilla tactics and employed retreat to entrap the enthusiastic pursuers. The Burmese, in time, feared to pursue the retreating Manipuris. They used arambai, which were dart-like projectiles, thrown from horsebacks in such situations. Like his predecessors, Bhagyachandra had excellent training in Manipuri martial arts known as Thangta. The martial spirit of people spilled over during brief respites of peace to the development of many indigenous forms of games like Mukna Kangje, Mukna, Yubilakpi, etc., among which one of them is the Sagol Kangje, from which the modern sports of polo was developed.
Bhagyachandra Maharaj matamda awana sawusi Manipur gumba kunthra mangarom sawi. Misingsu awagidi yam yangre.
The Burmese kingdom during Bhagyachandra's time was 35 times larger than Manipur, so they had a much larger population and a much bigger army. Not only that, they also had firearms in good numbers supplied by France to check the British. To balance our army's superior firepower, he reached a treaty with East India Company in 1762 AD. This treaty was the first of its kind in the history of Manipur. In accordance with the treaty, the British sent 6 companies of soldiers to help Manipur. But most of them never reached Manipur due to inhospitable conditions of the terrain. They turned back from Badapur.
Karta Bhagyachandra gi mama ga pokmina ba mama khele bana
Bhagyachandra's maternal uncle, Khele Nuwa Telhiba, also known as Khelemba, asked Bhagyachandra for more territory to add to his principality. Denied his wish, Khelemba invited the Burmese king to wage war on Bhagyachandra. The Manipuris fought valiantly but lost the first battle and retreated. There were inhuman tortures, killings and violations under the Burmese invasion. Being aware of the misery that his people were passing through, he prayed the Lord for a sign whether he would be given the power to chase his enemies out of his land. A defeated Bhagyachandra briefly stayed at Kasar and then went to Assam. He took asylum in Assam under the rule of a home king, Swargadevo Chau Surompa Rajeshwar Singh. The king and his people welcomed him. Khelemba, apprised of this, sent a courier to the Assam king saying that Bhagyachandra was an impostor and made a request to assassinate him. King Rajeshwar was advised by his ministers to ask Bhagyachandra to subdue a rogue elephant to prove his worth.
Bhagyachandra, who was in a helpless situation, prayed to Lord Krishna. Seeing his bhakta's grief, he came in his dream and said, "Do not despair, Bhagyachandra. I will tackle the mad elephant for you. When you return to your kingdom, you build a temple for me. I will grow as a jackfruit tree in the Bashmukha Kainahir. Carve a resemblance of me from it. Take a close look at me now." With the grace of the Lord, Bhagyachandra performed the miraculous act of taming the mad elephant. The Assamese king and his subjects honored him with the title Jai Singh.
The episode of Bhagyachandra's taming the mad elephant has been entrenched in the psyche of the Manipur Vaishnav. Traditional folk music, theatre and paintings draw on the episode and interpret it with their creative imaginations.
Hai vasibu kaur barani rajeshwar nangi sau angau bado hai no ngan berde gobina ai pha bigani samu pha badi lai bu lai ri ning thau lura bawari amateng samina kisiko na haka nangi samu pangege ai di brina bonda khankiroi Manipur sanna lei pakte bhasamukh chinduda pamen thaibong oire dene gobina aina hurangge nang ne ning thau oi de pamen thaibong yan du na Govinda nít buông câu đầu u cô ai buồn nít buồn tàu vương đi nè quạt bát suy rồi đâu bờ nè hiền bát suy rồi đâu bờ nè có Govinda padam lâu lâu tắc kỳ đặc lý mơ tâm.
The Assamese king Rajarshi extended help by giving soldiers to Bhagyachandra. Bhagyachandra, with an army of 80,000, set home to regain it from the Burmese. The Burmese got wind of it and fled from Manipur. Bhagyachandra regained his kingdom from the Burmese. Bhagyachandra suffered defeat repeatedly, but he never gave up his land and people to the enemy. His tenacity, fueled by his love of his people and kingdom, helped him regain Manipur.
Legend has it that a tribal woman came to Bhagyachandra's court and narrated him about a boy with a flute that she had encountered on occasions in the hills of Kaina. He immediately set for the Kaina hills, where the Lord had told him to find him in the form of a jackfruit tree. Preparations were made to transport the tree. By the order of the king, the tree was uprooted whole after elaborate rituals. It was then transported downstream on the Iril river.
After seasoning it, carving of the first idol started. The first idol did not match the vision he saw. The nirupon of the next idol by the king was held on Friday, the 12th of Hyangay, 1776 AD at 1 p.m. He pronounced the idol to be Shri Shri Govindaji of Manipur. The court astrologers wrote the horoscope of Shri Shri Govindaji, considering the nirupon as the event of the Lord's taking birth in the land. The first idol made from the tree was named Bijoy Govinda and came under the care and worship of Bhagyachandra's uncle Ananta Sai. Other idols carved from the same tree were Gopinath, Madan Mohan, Nityananda, Advaita Prabhu and Anu Prabhu. Shri Govindaji's Abhishek was performed at the Ras Mandal at Langthabal on the 11th of the Manipuri month of Poinu, 1779. The tradition is still in place, commemorating every year the original dedication by Bhagyachandra. Bhagyachandra dedicated his kingdom to Shri Govindaji on the day of the Abhishek. His sentiment was that from that day onwards, the king of Manipur would be none other than the Lord. Bhagyachandra himself and those who were to follow him would be just agents of Shri Govindaji. Since Shri Govindaji is the real king, the 9 satras, the royal insignia, is for him alone. For Bhagyachandra and his lineage, they would have the honor of only the 7 satras. From that day, Govindaji became the king of Manipur.
Bhagyachandra's masterpiece of devotion, the Manipuri Raas, was his offering to Shri Shri Govindaji. Bhagyachandra's divine inspiration and the genius of the then Manipuri gurus created the Nat Sankirtan and the Manipuri Raas Leela as an offering to Shri Govindaji. It was displayed and highlighted for 5 days in full dedication to Shri Govindaji, starting on the moonlit night of the 11th of the Meitei month of Poinu, 1779 AD for the first time. The king's pious daughter Bimbavati, popularly known as Sijalayobi, took the role of Radha in the Maharas. In Manipur, the Vaishnav never go to watch the Raas, but instead go to prostrate oneself in devotion before the performance in the spirit of bhakti. The costume of Manipuri Raas Leela blends with the dance in its philosophy and functionality, and is an example of the synthesizing acumen of Manipuris to generate something unique and original. The aim of the design is to effect the elevation and transformation of the mundane to the celestial. The Ras Leela and Sankirtan, which are based on the Srimad Bhagavat, are an embodiment of the highest levels of sentiment of bhakti, conveyed through an unparalleled artistic vision. From this point onwards, the name Bhagyachandra was given to the king by a grateful nation.
चैतन्य महाप्रभु के सेवक श्री नरोत्तम ठाकुर महासेवक की छायोनी हाइनरिबा मणिपुरेश्वर महाराज कर्ता भाग्यचंद्र राजा अमसुंग.
Bhagyachandra Maharaj was not only a king but a saint. That's the reason for the title Rajarshi or Saint King. He was the incarnate of Narottam Thakur, the divine disciple of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When he performed Nirupan of Sri Govinda Vigraha, he came to be known as Bhagyachandra, the fortunate one. He was called Karta when his subjects felt that there was no leader like him. From this point onward, the direct descendant of him came to be known as part of the Karta Bansha or Karta lineage. As a great king favored by both the hill people and the valley, he was called Chingthangkhom. The Assam king gave him the title Jai Singh after the incidents of subduing the mad elephant in Assam.
After establishing palaces in Bishnupur and Kanchipur, etc., he finally settled in Konthokzam Inkhol. It became the British residency during the British rule and now is the Manipuri Raas Bhavan. He stayed here instead of Kangla, historians opine, because he vowed never to reside in Kangla until the Manipuri's territory, as drawn by his ancestor, was restored from the enemies.
Bhagyachandra Maharaj na Vrindavan gidamak Christabda Lisingmaga Satred Marputrani Pangi February da Impal Lagi Jatra Tawi.
Bhagyachandra set foot for Vrindavan in February 1798 AD. He reached Sylhet. While in Sylhet, he visited Dhaka Dakshin, which was a holy place where the great disciples of Mahaprabhu Chaitanya once stayed. He offered Sankirtan there. From there, he went to Navadvip. He again offered Sankirtan here. He set for Vrindavan from here on boat on the river Ganga. He stopped in Murshidabad and here he breathed his last. It was October 1798 AD. Meitei is symbolic of the union of Radha and Krishna and hence a deeply sacred instrument to the Manipuri Vaishnavas. The white cloth that is wrapped around the pung is symbolic of the union of Radha and Krishna apart from its aesthetic function. Bhagyachandra was himself a pung player and played it in Nat Sankirtan when it was dedicated to Shri Shri Govindaji. Bhagyachandra introduced the most stylized and complicated kirtan solely for drums known as Maha Dhumel Kirtan. There are 14 pung players in it and the entire sequence of Nat Sankirtan is followed. There are 145 complicated talas known as Samchara, dedicated to 14 gurus of Gauriya Vaishnavism.
The present generation has not inherited significant historic buildings made of iron and stone, through which the cultural process of Manipur could be studied. But the Manipuri men and women themselves are the channels and bearers through which Manipuri culture and civilization have continued. Rajarshi Bhagyachandra's devotion and bhakti still sustains the living culture of Manipuri Vaishnavas. His gift to the world in the field of the arts would remain significant as long as humanity is endowed with the faculty to appreciate beauty in its supreme manifestation.